Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Andrew Yang, and we're going to talk about every one of him and every single one of his opponents in the New Hampshire primary, the 2020 New Hampshire Democrat primary. All right, so today, the time of the release of this video, it is February 11th, 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is the twinkling, dewy dawn of the day, right before voting begins. And I'm going to take this moment right now to give you my prediction for what's going to happen today in the New Hampshire 2020 Democrat primary. Okay? So there are 24 delegates up for grabs. And I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to happen with Andrew Yang and with every single one of his opponents and how many delegates they're going to get. All right. So let's go. I'll give you Andrew Yang first because he is the most important. It is my prediction that in the New Hampshire primary, Andrew Yang is going to get 0 delegates. I'll talk about that in one moment. All right, next, I'm going to put everybody else in order of the number of delegates they're going to get, and I'm going to list them in order of their vote percentage, highest to lowest. So if I list them first, they're going to get the highest percentage, and then last, they'll have the lowest percentage vote, okay? All right, so Bernie Sanders, I think he's going to crush it in New Hampshire. I'll talk about why in a minute. He's going to get 16 of the 24 delegates. Next, I think it's going to be, next is going to be Elizabeth Warren. She's going to get 5 delegates in this primary race. Specifically in New Hampshire, she's going to get 5 New Hampshire delegates. After her, specifically, is going to be Pete Buttigieg getting 2. And then last will be Amy Klobuchar getting 1. Okay? And that's all 24. So 16, 5, 2, and 1, that is 24. Okay? So Sanders with 16, Warren with 5, Pete Buttigieg with 2, Amy Klobuchar with 1, and then it is my prediction that Biden will get 0, Yang will get 0, and then Steyer will get 0. Okay, and you could see like Biden will have a higher vote percentage than Yang, and Yang will have a higher vote percentage than Steyer. There'll be a bunch of other people who are running also. By the way, I'm taking this as an opportunity to remind everybody these debates are absolutely outrageously important. They're incredibly important. And one of the things we saw is in Iowa, the only people who had any numbers, if you have not made a debate, you are double goose egg, right? And I've been saying from the beginning that these debates matter. You have got to be in debates or you are done. Tulsi Gabbard is a political machine. She is very, very effective. She has great presence. She has great ability to communicate. She has great intelligence. She has been missing the debates on the regular, and she is donezo. She is double goose egg, 0. She was like 0%, on the vote percentage, and she was 0 delegates. If you're not making the debates, right, you're not making coverage, and you're not being mocked by SNL in their parody skits. The debates matter. They matter because they trigger 55 other things. And if you're not in the debates, you're not in those other things. It matters. The debates matter. And so, like, if you're a non-debate, if you're not making the debates, it's a massive problem. Yang has only missed 1 debate, okay? But if he misses another debate, it's every single debate he misses, it's a massive, massive problem. Any type of political commentators out there that try to spin you that missing the debates is good in any way, be wary. Your ears should be perking up, okay? Because they're singing noise to you. All right, now, Andrew Yang does not need. Now, I am 100% aware that Yang has spent a ton of time in New Hampshire. I'm aware of that. He has spent a lot of time and energy in New Hampshire, and I think he expects to get delegates in New Hampshire. Of course, I believe he deserves to get delegates in New Hampshire. But I think we're still dealing with this. We're still dealing with the debate 7 attribute problem. We don't have a solution for that yet. It's very similar to the 1619 problem. They of course are not exactly analogous. One is much worse than the other. The 1619 problem was much worse than the debate 7 attribute problem, but they have a lot of the same elements, and it's going to take a lot to defeat this problem. And until we get a real solution for this problem, it's going to mean a lot of these primaries and caucuses are going to be 0 delegates. That 0 delegate results for Yang in primaries and in caucuses does not mean he can't win. I believe he can walk into the national convention with very, very little, with one delegate from one primary caucus and win the entire thing. And the reason why is that has to do with my opinion about an unfolding future, about events that the future unfolds into the now, and Andrew Yang's ability to maneuver better than any other candidate and deal with events that are unfolded into the now, right? And how the events that the future unfolds for establishment candidates are almost always bad. For non-establishment candidates like Yang, they're almost always good. And I really feel that Yang wins when he's the last one standing, and that's exactly where we're going. I think that's the politically last one standing. Yeah, we'll get there. All right. So he, and you're seeing it. Biden has defeated himself. That I've been saying this from day one, that Yang doesn't need to beat anybody. These candidates are all beating themselves. And it's absolutely and tearing each other down. And Biden is a perfect example of this. He has just squandered his lead, and we're seeing right now he's just imploding. His campaign is imploding. Elizabeth Warren, same thing, had huge momentum and is just going nowhere. And now all the energy in the room is going right over to Bernie Sanders. But I do think that actually helps, because the DNC is starting to wake up and realize, oh my gosh, this is happening just like it happened in 2016. All the energy in the room is going to Bernie Sanders, and we got a real problem, because Bernie Sanders is a gift-wrapped birthday gift for Donald Trump. He will absolutely politically massacre him in the general, right? Bernie Sanders is a wrapped-up gift presidency for Donald Trump, and I think the DNC is starting to understand that, and I think the Democrat voter base might be able to figure that out. And as soon as they figure that out, Yang's right there as a real alternative that can really win. And that is very exciting. And I think the way things are really starting to shape out is that Amy Klobuchar may be Yang's actual true, real competitor for the national convention, at the national convention. And it's not going to be about, and all this primary and caucus stuff, this is all just noise at the beginning, right? And the real event is the national convention, and I think it's going to be between Amy and Yang. Amy and Andrew in the national convention, because she's the only real person who I think is an actual threat to Andrew Yang. And the reason why is Biden's imploding. I think Warren has lost all steam. Bernie, I think every single day that goes forward, people are like, really? Are we gonna put Bernie Sanders forward, a guy who's constantly being whose number one question is in every interview is if he's actually healthy, or if his history as a socialist is not going to be just a political cudgel that Trump uses to beat him into submission with? And people are starting to wake up and go, Bernie would be really comfortable to listen to for these remaining months, but we would get absolutely slaughtered in the general. And I mean, it's just so obvious. Bernie is a red bouncy ball gift given to a puppy. Bernie is Trump's dream in the general. He will just absolutely politically massacre him. It's gonna be so bad, right? And I think that's great for Yang, because I think both the DNC and the Democrat voter base are starting to come out of this fever dream and go, oh my gosh, we really can't do this, because there's no way you can't Bernie, October 2019, Bernie socialism. He's just he is the only candidate that comes with pull tabs to defeat. Like, he's got a tab on him that says pull here to defeat, and he's got 2 tabs on him that says pull here to defeat. Like, I don't understand. This Bernie thing is really, like, and also, Pete, I'm not going to dismiss him completely, in that, he's easily defeatable in that he doesn't have a single original policy, right? He's not really, I don't think he's any kind of real political threat. All right, and also it's clear as day that he didn't do a good job in the small town he's been running. Like, Elizabeth Warren did a great job in debate 8, go and say you can't even run a town, Pete, right? And just took it to him on it. So that's where we're at. So now, why is Bernie going to do so well in New Hampshire? Well, we should take a moment and talk about the differences between Iowa and between the Iowa caucus and New Hampshire primary. Okay. All right. Here we go. So, what are the differences? Well, one, I am praying, I'm an evangelical Christian, and I am praying that New Hampshire, that the team who is responsible to count votes in New Hampshire is willing to take this seriously and and count these votes in a way that actually matter. Like, to count these votes in a way where the votes will be returned in a timely manner so that people will care. Because I will tell you right now, I don't think people very, very little cared about what happened in Iowa. Those results were returned so late that the only message that Iowa sent was that disenfranchisement, that people who have felt disenfranchised were 100% justified to feel disenfranchised, because there were going to be teams that would take their votes and treat them like they were trash, like they didn't matter in any way, right? And that's what happened in Iowa. Like, those votes were treated like they didn't matter. Like, that's exactly. I mean, they were just treated like they didn't matter. And I have incredible sympathy for the people who took the time to vote, and then their votes were treated like those votes didn't matter in any way. That's incredibly sad. And the message coming out of Iowa is that if you've ever been tempted to feel disenfranchised, you should remain disenfranchised. That is a horrible, horrible message. So one, we're hoping that the main difference between the New Hampshire primary and the Iowa caucus is that the team counting the votes in New Hampshire primary will actually treat those votes like they matter. That's really, and return those results in a timely manner, and that means within 24 hours. Frankly, I think that means within 6 hours. Those votes should be like 90% reported the night of. Like, that is the expectation. Okay. All right. So next, we should be reading. By the way, we should be reading those results in the morning. Right, that, like, the day after. That is the absolute fair expectation. Okay, all right. So let's keep moving here. All right. Next, New Hampshire primary. Primary is secret voting. Caucus is public voting. That's a big important one. The next one is, let's talk about New Hampshire primary versus Iowa caucus. Okay. Let's talk about liberal, progressive, moderate. Okay. So these words have freight. They're packed up like crates, and they have freight meaning. Okay. What does liberal mean? By the way, the dictionary definitions on these are so ancient and crusty and no longer used by anybody that they don't matter. They're used by 50 different news sources in 50 different ways, and I'm going to give you my definitions right now. Okay. Everybody who's doing any type of commentary is using their own definitions now. And on these terms, okay? So liberal is giving aid to anyone who is suffering or uncomfortable with little regard to cost or future impact. Excuse me. All right. A very perfect example of this is Bernie Sanders' Medicare for All without knowing the cost of his own program. Right? Bernie Sanders admits that he doesn't even know the cost of his own program. Biden says that the cost of his program will be twice the cost the cost of Biden's Medicare for All plan, his premium plus Medicare for All plan, will be twice the cost of our current entire budget. That's pretty incredible. That's one of the best lines in debate 8. That's pretty incredible, and that's a perfect example of liberal, right? Like giving aid to people who are suffering or who are uncomfortable. Oh, and I forgot one part. With the exception of the rich, with little regard to cost or future impact. What is progressive? Progressive means focused on innovation. It means creating a better society through focus on innovation. And for progressives, it means using a new process. It is foundationally believing that old processes are going to get us what we got before, and that the only way we move forward, the only way we progress, is using innovation, using new processes and new ways, okay, new methods, right? And then last, moderate is an attempt to sit between Democrat and Republican, okay? And we'll map them out. Yang is a progressive. Bernie Sanders is clearly a liberal. Elizabeth Warren, a liberal. By the way, all of this is my opinion. These are my mappings of the candidates. And my commentary. By the way, I'm a political commentary. I'm a political commentator. Okay, and the reason I'm taking a minute to say that is a lot of people aren't really owning. Is this person a reporter? Are they a commentator? Or are they, are they a comedian? Who knows nowadays, right? I am a political commentator. All right, so I don't report the news. I commentate on the news. I'm not a comedian. I commentate. I do make a joke every now and then. All right, so try to make it clear when I'm making a joke, because that's tough on the internet. You got to be clear. All right, so you can get in trouble doing that. All right, so basically, so Pete, let's keep it moving here. All right, Biden gets a good question. I think Biden is a moderate. Biden is a moderate. Pete Buttigieg, that's a good question. This is just my opinion. I don't think Pete Buttigieg is any of those things. I think he is a mirror that tries to reflect whatever you want him to be. Tom Steyer, I don't think he is any of those things either. I don't think Tom Steyer is actually running in this election from a political perspective. I believe this entire run is all about a personal redemption narrative. I think that Tom Steyer is so guilty from funding coal companies and making his billions from that is why he is now trying to put the label of climate activist on himself through running for president. So so those labels aren't appropriate to him. His entire campaign is just a personal redemption narrative. It's not actually a real political campaign. And then Amy Klobuchar, it's a good one. I think Amy Klobuchar is a moderate. Okay, now, what is New Hampshire? Okay, Iowa as a state, okay, is progressive. New Hampshire is liberal. And that is why Bernie Sanders is going to win in New Hampshire. And that's also why Andrew Yang is going to get 0 delegates in New Hampshire. All that is my opinion. That's my prediction. You could call me fool or you could call me genius tomorrow. Because I've put it on the line. I've made my predictions. It's fun. I like doing it. I like being able to, I like putting my knowledge on the line to show you what I know and what I don't. And I think cool, courageous political commentators, that's what they do. So I'm putting that here for your review, and I also really want to say thank you very much for letting me share this information with you. Also, thank you as always for taking the time to listen to my political commentary, and I am going to wish you a very happy millennium and have a wonderful and indeed have a very wonderful millennium.